One of the questions we get asked about the most at the Fog Bog is how much fog juice do we go through and how much do we spend on it? Well, if you're buying fog juice that's $20 to $30 a gallon, we've come up with a way, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube here about how to do this, but we've come up with a pretty good way on how to reduce that cost to just about $6 per gallon. You do need to get a 5-gallon mixing bucket. It doesn't have to be like this. This was just something from Amazon. I'll put a link in it here. In the Chicago area, the cheapest place to get distilled water, which is what you're going to want to use, make sure it's distilled. Walmart has it for $1.17. Myers has it for $1.23 per gallon. Jewel, for some reason, $2.25. And then you'll need to get a gallon of, and this is important, 100% pure food grade glycerin. And I found that just about 3/4 of a gallon of glycerin. I'll fill this up to here and then mix it with about 4 gallons of water. Gets me about 4.5 gallons, 4.75 gallons of fog fluid. And when you do the math and divide that by 4.75, it's just about $6. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I know all the machines say you have to use their fluid. If you have Hurricane 1600 or 1800s, or even like the ADJ VH Volcano, these things will pretty much burn anything at all. Like they just pump it in so much so that we've just called this voodoo fog juice. I didn't get the term. Somebody else told me about how they did it, and I thought that was a cool name. Now with our hurricane machine, it goes through, I mean, about a gallon every 45 minutes per machine. So it needs to be made in bulk. And what I do every day is I make about 10 gallons of this. And when the fog weather is perfect, I'll just start kicking it out. If it's less than perfect or it's just blown away, I just kind of turn it down to conserve some of that. But it does drastically bring down that price of fog fluid. On a Cumulus machine, one thing I will say is I've tried making my own blend for the Cumulus machine. Now that does not like the any of my mixtures. For some reason, when I try it, it might work okay for a little bit, but then I end up blowing out the pump, and then I got to do a pump change, and I actually just buy the low-lying gallon by Chauvet. And with that, I have good luck. It uses so little that it's really not a big deal, because that's right now going for $40 a gallon for some reason. So just go ahead and fill up your bottom of your like 3/4 of a gallon or so, whatever you want to do. Obviously, the more glycerin, the thicker the fog. Pretty easy stuff. What I do is, as I put that in, once I get to like the bottom of a container of this, I'll add distilled water to this and shake it around, put it in there just so I don't waste glycerin. And then every time I put a gallon of distilled water into it, I just make sure I shake it up pretty good. Now, I never go really above this point here, which is the air release valve, basically so it pours out faster. If I do, even though it's closed, I do end up with leaking, and the stuff, you know, it's all slimy and it's a mess to work with. I do frequently rinse out this container just because if there's debris in there, I don't want it to get stuck in my filters on my pump. But yeah, I'll put the links for all this in a video, or in the bottom of this video, and happy hunting and happy saving money. And one other thing I did find helpful is I've saved some older gallons that I had of fog juice and made sure I clearly labeled them so that I don't get them mixed up with the Cumulus fog. It's so much easier to manage when you have them in gallon containers. The big 5-gallon container is great for mixing, but then what I do is I just, once it's done, I'll fill up a bunch of these bottles. Always use a funnel, especially when you're putting that into your machine. Anytime you spill it on the sides of the machine, of course, it's a big mess. You got to clean it up. You don't want to cause any shorts. And of course, glycerin doesn't evaporate like water does. So if you do get it in the electronic components, then it's pretty much there forever.